Make no mistake, this friendship is hanging by a thread. And if you think Meghan Markle's latest return to the spotlight was all about fashion, think again. This was never just a style moment. It was a calculated move, a relaunch, a rebrand, and another attempt to reinsert herself onto the world stage. But as with most things Meghan touches these days, it didn't go quite as planned. After months of relative quiet, Meghan Markle made her grand reappearance, a new look, a new color palette, and a brand new attempt at redefining her public image. She arrived in Paris, surrounded by a carefully curated team, with cameras ready to capture every angle. But behind the glamorous facade, there was chaos brewing. Sources close to the event claimed that even those working with Meghan were unprepared for how fast things spiraled. Once again, her so-called comeback moment turned into a PR disaster. And it's not because the idea was bad, it's because, just like in every other situation, Meghan seems to underestimate the importance of strategy, consistency, and trust. Every time Meghan steps into the spotlight, there's a pattern. The plans look perfect on paper, the outfits, the venues, the press coordination, but behind the scenes, it's always a scramble. Insiders describe her inner circle as thin and disorganized. Many of her once loyal team members have quietly moved on, leaving behind a small handful of assistants who, frankly, aren't experienced enough to handle someone of Meghan's profile. For most A-list stars, everything is mapped out in advance, from who they'll meet to what they'll wear to exactly where they'll stay. But for Meghan, the only thing reportedly planned was her hotel exit. Yes, the one that conveniently went viral on social media. She was staying at one of Paris's most prestigious hotels, and of course, the photographers just happened to be waiting outside. Coincidence? Not quite. The creative director behind the fashion house, Meghan aligned herself with a brand that already has a somewhat controversial past. Recently, made a surprising admission. He revealed that his connection with Meghan wasn't as close as her team had led the public to believe. In fact, he said they were only texting back and forth before the show. Not exactly the close partnership Meghan's PR suggested. That's where the cracks in her narrative start to show. If you've ever worked in celebrity PR, you know one rule above all others: control the story, or the story controls you. And Meghan, time and time again, loses that control. It reminds some in the industry of classic PR blunders, moments when a star contradicts their own press, derailing weeks of planning. One insider compared it to a past incident where an artist killed her own movie audition, buzzed live on air simply by saying, "I don't know anything about it." That same lack of media instinct is what keeps hurting Meghan's brand. She wants to tell her own story, but she doesn't seem to realize that without discipline, that story falls apart in public view. According to sources, this entire Paris plan was actually the brainchild of Meghan's longtime friend, Marcus Anderson, a man who's been by her side since before royal life. He reportedly pushed the idea of her attending Paris Fashion Week as a way to reintroduce Meghan to elite social circles. It would have been the perfect opportunity: a few glamorous appearances, some flattering headlines, and a reminder to the world that she's still a player in the global spotlight. But then came the infamous moment. When Meghan was caught laughing during a tense moment on the catwalk, cameras captured it instantly. What should have been a harmless giggle turned into international backlash. Marcus, sources say, was furious. He knew the optics were terrible, especially for someone trying to rebuild credibility. Fashion insiders pointed out that Meghan's lack of composure felt tone-deaf. At a major show like that, even one misstep can turn an event into a scandal. And while Meghan may have found the situation funny, those close to her say it made her look out of touch and insensitive. But that's only part of the story. Because when receipts started surfacing, hotel bills, limousine hires, and event costs, one thing became clear. Meghan didn't pay for everything herself, and that raised even more questions. Sources claim that much of the trip, including her stay at the luxury Plaza Athénée, was covered by the very same brand whose creative director now insists the collaboration wasn't official. So who really paid for what? No one seems to want to answer that question, and for good reason. If a brand quietly funded her appearance, it could raise serious concerns about transparency and image ethics, especially considering Meghan's public emphasis on authenticity and integrity. Even more telling is who didn't get involved: her agency, William Morris Endeavor. Despite representing her, WME had no part in organizing or promoting the Paris trip. No social post, no press releases, no acknowledgement whatsoever. For an agency that usually leverages every client appearance for publicity, that silence was deafening. It suggests one of two things. Either WME was completely unaware of the trip, or they chose to distance themselves from it. And neither option paints a flattering picture. To many observers, Meghan's Paris appearance looked like a self-funded, self-managed PR experiment gone wrong, an attempt to show independence that instead exposed chaos behind the curtain. And the bigger issue? It seemed to send an unintentional message to the royal family, a look at me gesture across the Atlantic. By traveling halfway around the world for what appeared to be a vanity-driven event, Meghan reminded everyone of just how far she's willing to go for attention. Meanwhile, Prince Harry continues fighting in British courts for the security privileges he lost after stepping down from royal duties, a stark contrast to Meghan's luxury photo ops. The British public has made their feelings clear. They're not footing the bill for his security, no matter how many appeals he files. So while Harry battles bureaucracy, Meghan battles public perception, and right now, both seem to be losing. Interestingly, insiders say the Paris event was originally pitched as an opportunity for Meghan to serve as an informal ambassador for a global brand, a role that could have rekindled her image as a humanitarian figure rather than just a celebrity. But many within the brand reportedly objected. They felt the association was tone-deaf, especially considering Paris's deep emotional connection to Princess Diana, a city still symbolic for many royal fans. To them, Meghan's flashy appearance wasn't a tribute. It was an insult, a stunt, a move that cheapened what could have been a powerful moment of grace and legacy. And in true Meghan fashion, what could have been an elegant opportunity turned into yet another controversy. It's the same pattern we've seen before. The doors of opportunity open wide, and somehow she manages to slam them shut herself. Even after her charitable appearances in New York, the backlash hasn't cooled. The photo she loved walking out of her Paris hotel in designer gowns didn't earn her the calls she expected from other major fashion houses. The phones, as one insider put it, have stayed silent. And that silence speaks volumes. Whether or not Meghan learns from this remains to be seen. But for now, her supposed comeback moment has become yet another chapter in her long-running struggle with image, control, and credibility. One thing's for sure, when Meghan Markle steps into the spotlight, the story never ends quietly. Reporting from London, this is Royal Watch Daily.